Greetings. I'm Dr. Baz Dreisinger, Executive Director of the Incarceration Nations Network. So first to share, the Writing on the Wall project is a 7-year-old project that is about amplifying the voices of those directly impacted by mass incarceration all around the world. It's an art installation, a collaboration between INN and the incredible artist Hank Willis Thomas and various other organizations who support us. And what we do is take writing and drawings and notes by people in prison all around the world and project them into public spaces. We've done this in a physical sense. In some cities in the US, we did it on the Highline Park in New York City, where it was a collapsible booth made of writing by people in prison around the world that people could read and engage with. They could take a tour with a formerly incarcerated leader who would share about personal experience and also ideas about policy change. We use it as a way to elevate those voices, to get the conversation going, and also to elevate the work of people fighting against mass incarceration all around the world, and our partners at the Incarceration Nations Network, the incredible work that they're doing. Currently, the Writing on the Wall has been turned into a projection that we are projecting at night in cities around the US and soon internationally as a way of saying we need to pay attention to prisons in this crisis. COVID is a pandemic in the prisons around the world. Here in the US, there are over 65,000 cases in the prisons and more than 650 deaths. And the releases from prison in the face of this have not been nearly enough. It's critical that that happen. We are advocating in the face of the pandemic, but we're also advocating simply in the face of wanting to, as we call it, hashtag defund the prisons. We need to take budgets out of militarized policing and corrections that do not make us safer and invest in communities, invest in true public safety, invest in education, in healthcare, in all kinds of needs in communities. And I think this is a message that's relevant not just here in the US, but around the world. Defund the prisons, invest in communities. As far as the pandemic itself around the world, there have been some radical moves taken by various countries. I recently spoke with one of our INN partners in India and was told that 70 to 80,000 people have been released. That is almost a quarter of the entire prison population, which is excellent. Other countries like Iran and Turkey have responded in kind, but are they going to continue to decarcerate even on the other side of this pandemic, whatever it looks like? It's critical that they do that, that they continue to decarcerate, that they invest in alternative to incarceration programs, that they invest in reentry and reintegration. To release someone in the face of a pandemic is really a double crisis. Reintegration is so difficult as it is. When a pandemic is happening, it's triply difficult. So we need governments around the world to invest in reentry and reintegration, as well as healthcare and other kinds of support and programs that keep people from being funneled directly into prison to begin with. These are all the messages we're trying to convey with the Writing on the Wall. We'll be in Ohio this Friday, and we'll be in Mexico City the week after that. We're very much looking forward to it. We're also, of course, consistently drawing the connection between slavery, race, mass incarceration, colonialism, imperialism. All of these things are deeply intertwined all over the world. In the US, it's not even a debatable or controversial reality that we know that slavery, that mass incarceration is a direct lineage of slavery. Essentially, and you should see the film 13th if you haven't, and read Angela Davis and various others, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. These are seminal critical texts about this issue. But essentially, all over the world, what we see are the others being criminalized, legally criminalized, through the enactment of things like what we had called the Black Codes in the US, where individuals were things like loitering, essentially breathing while Black became a crime in the wake of the end of slavery. And so therefore they were funneled directly into the prison system. And this continues to happen as we criminalize others all over the world. This is the case in Brazil, racially speaking, in terms of the disparities in the criminal justice system there. This is the case in Australia, New Zealand, thinking about Aboriginal people. Essentially, everyone has a population, the Roma population in Europe, poor people all over the global South who are deemed other, who are criminalized legally, and then mass incarcerated. And often it's for a labor force. And it's important to note that in the US, and this is, again, not opinion, studies have shown this again and again and again, that at every stage of the criminal justice process, there is racial discrimination at play. And African Americans and Latinos are dramatically overrepresented in the population for these reasons and for the systemic racism that is built into our alleged justice system here in the US.